Howdy Culturists, it's John Press, and today I went to the Community Board 1 meeting where they showed what the 9/11 memorial is going to look like, and I want to show you the footage. They had actually computer-generated animation showing what that's going to be like, and then I want to focus in on the parts where they're going to talk about Islam in the 9/11 memorial, and then I want to tell you about conversations I had with the director of the 9/11 memorial, Anne Greenwald, in the QA session and afterwards. So without any further ado, roll 'em.
A slide through of the spaces of the memorial, entering the museum as if you were walking through. The only thing that is not included in this slide through is the historical exhibition, which I will take you through in a PowerPoint. But I will talk you through the slide through, which begins now. So you're facing east, looking at the museum pavilion in between the two pools. The Snowhead building, the entry pavilion, where you would see the tridents through the atrium glass at the northwest corner of the building. They are in place and come out. Visitors will go down past these artifacts of the original building by escalator or stair to the museum's lobby, where they will do what people do in lobbies: go to the information desk, leave their coat, pick up handhelds if we should do that. And you'll get your first sense of the vast volume of space you're about to enter. Visit our memorial exhibition, which is about the scale of loss pictured with nearly 3,000 portrait photos and names of the victims on all four walls. There's a piece of the communications antenna from the North Tower that speak to the scale of what was here and also the scale of destruction.
And here, I think it's History Room 3, is where they focused on Islam in the 9/11 memorial film.
We move now into the second part of the historical exhibition, which is like a physical footnote. It's an area in which we begin to try to explain who did this and why. We also begin to establish the World Trade Center in the public imagination, how these buildings, love them or hate them, were a landmark to us. And while they were a landmark to us, they were also a target to others. So we set up that dichotomy and moved directly into the story of the 1993 bombing, asking the questions: why was it that the World Trade Center was targeted by terrorists not just once, but twice? We tell the story of the 93 bombing, that is a portion of the B2 parking level where the van packed with explosives was parked. This was picked up off a laptop computer in the apartment of one of the bombers by the FBI a month later, and it basically says, "We'll get you the next time." So the seeds for 2001 were already planted in 1994. We then give you a very brief film documentary that we are creating to help you understand as a visitor the rise of Al-Qaeda, where they came from, the ideology rooted in Islamist fundamentalist terrorism. We take you through the previous terrorist attacks on U.S. targets, the USS Cole, and the African embassy bombings. And we take you to the 9/11 plot itself, where we bring you from the arrival of the hijackers to our shores, their training in American flight schools, and the actual execution of the 9/11 plot.
Now, afterwards, I was one of two people that got to ask questions from the audience. And before I go on, I want to say that I prefaced my question by saying I was the leader of the culturist Brooklyn Tea Party. Why? Because I think it's really important that the world knows that the Tea Party is taking on two culturist issues. One, this Ground Zero Mosque. We've got to know that there's a clash of civilizations between the West and Islam. The second one is that it's important for Tea Parties to talk about border enforcement and our immigration laws. So if you believe that the Tea Parties, your Tea Parties, all Tea Parties should talk about border enforcement and the Ground Zero Mosque, please go to our website and register your support. Now we got that out of the way. Afterwards, again, there was a Q&A session because I had filmed this film that went for 20 minutes. I had run out of batteries, so I didn't film it. But I was one of two people that got to ask questions, and I started mine with a premise that I thought I remembered from the film you just saw. And I said, wow, I am so excited that you're going to be using the words Islam and jihad in the history section. So can you tell me approximately how many times we'll be using each of these words so I can gauge, how much it's going to go into depth? Well, she corrected me. She said, no, in fact, we're not going to be using the words Islam or jihad. She said that we're going to be using the word Islamist, and that she had developed this vocabulary with the help of the Middle Eastern scholars that were advising her. Wow, dig that. Middle Eastern scholars are going to be telling us how to write our Western narrative about when we were attacked. I wonder if they'll reciprocate. I think that we should write, all their war memorials for them. But at any rate, this is a very culturist problem. It's not intuitive to a culturist. At any rate, she then corrected herself and she said they might use the word jihad, but again, it hadn't been written. They will not use the word Islam. They'll use the word Islamist. And she said that these are historians of Middle Eastern history. So they're not maybe Middle Eastern historians. They're historians of Middle Eastern. Again, fine line, a lot of overlap. Not sure how to, suss that out, the details. Later in the lobby, I got to speak to her again. Very lucky. And so I asked her, I said, who are these Middle Eastern scholars? I'm not quite sure what this means, but she said they're from Princeton and Georgetown mostly. If you've got sort of thoughts about that, please pass them along. I also asked her, why are we not using the word Islam? She said, because Islamists are active sort of proponents of Islam that want to spread it. They're not like the vast majority of Muslims who aren't terrorists. So what they're trying to do is sort of say that these are different than normal Muslims. So, of course, normal Islam is very peaceful, and the religion is only, you'll pardon the expression, hijacked by these Islamists, right? Another thing that she said that she wanted to do was sort of really look at who these people were, tell it from, the ground, bird's eye point of view about, what their little lives were, their little plots. I don't think put it in a huge, large context, but really get, the point of view from their lives, their point of view. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you ask them their point of view, they will not tell you that they were Islamists separate off from the Muslim community, that they were like the proponents of Ummah who probably, in fact, know more about Islam than your average Muslim on the street. I mean, they definitely have clergy and learned positions behind them. At any rate, this is not going to be a culturist thing where they talk about this being the first salvo and, reigniting the 1400 year between Islam and the West, where Islam has had different values and trying to fight the West. It's really going to be a multicultural thing where they say that there are a few bad eggs, but, that's not the main story here. The main story is the tragedy. Of course, the tragedy is, the huge story, but in the larger context as a historian, I'll say, this has broader significance. I don't think they're going to bring that out. Anyhow, this has been John Press, the leader of the culturist Brooklyn Tea Party. If you think that the Tea Party should take on the Ground Zero Mosque and enforcing our federal immigration laws, please, again, go to our website and register your support. Thanks for listening.